Yeah, we're going to get into it. We got a lot to come up with, and we have a special guest to give us a little history lesson on the 10-cent beer night, which I'm very excited to see.
Sean Merriman later
how that
today,
goes.
too.
Plus Sean Merriman. Big show for you guys, and as always, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is sponsored by FanDuel. It is winner-take-all time in the NBA and NHL, and right now, FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And tonight, Paul, we finally get to see it. Guardians, Royals, the two best teams in the AL Central, squaring off for the first time this season. Two teams that have overachieved compared to their preseason expectations. And we got a hell of a pitching matchup set for tonight. Lugo, McKenzie, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, you have to actually give the Royals the edge in this pitching matchup today because Seth Lugo's, McKenzie's been fine, but Seth Lugo's been fantastic. Both teams have played great, as you said. At the moment, the Guardians are 39-20, which is good for the best record. Not the best record, third best record behind the Yankees and Baltimore. My eyes are failing me here. And then Kansas City has the fourth best record. They're 4 games back of the Guardians. Both teams around the same numbers in terms of run differential. The Guardians plus 78. The Royals plus 74. Similar home and road splits, too. The Guardians are 13 games over 500 at home and 6 over on the road. The Royals, 20, a little different. Royals, 12 over at home and 1 under on the road. But the Royals have shown to be a pretty good team, and I think in the end they'll drop off a little bit, but they're definitely a lot better than some people thought. I thought they'd be decent, not this good, but they've been pretty consistent. I mean, we're past the 1/3 point of the season. We're 3 weeks away from the halfway point of the season. So I think any team that's as many games over 500 as the Royals are have to be taken seriously. Doesn't mean they can't fall apart, but it's a big series and a big game tonight with the Guardians have had 2 days off in the last 5 days, which they kind of needed. Yeah. But now Stephen Kwan should be back in the lineup every day after going 4 for 8 over the weekend. He's hitting over 360. And but let's start with the pitching matchup, guys, or whatever you want to jump in on. Go ahead.
I mean, for me, I'm excited for it because I thought both of them hit their stride the same. When the Guardians went on their 9 games in a row, they couldn't get no room on the Royals because they were taking off at the same thing. I think they went 8-1 on that in that same span. So it's nice to see these guys go head to head. It's going to be really good baseball. Obviously, both teams is playing at a high level right now. I think Kansas City struggled with the Padres. I think they lost 2 of the 3, I want to say, against the Padres. So they're going to be fired up to try to get back on. And anytime you got that head-to-head right there in your same division, that you want to get those wins. So they're going to be playing their A game. Want to see what Tristan McKenzie does in this one. Gave up, two homers the last time he was on the mound?
Yeah, so 5 in his last 2
starts. So he's got to get this thing going and keep these things. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, though. I think both pitchers is going to try to pitch a really good game, and should be a really good series.
And for McKenzie, the batters you're keeping an eye on here, obviously the superstar youngster Bobby Witt Jr., who's been everything they could have hoped for the Royals. Then the old veteran, Salvador Perez, who...
He's having a monster.
I mean, the guy's just... he's going to be a Hall of Famer, I think, right?
Yeah, probably. He's got to be, 34 now?
I mean, he's still as good a hitter as any catcher in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Great power. He's a great leader on that team. And then the third guy who was hurt last year is Vinny Pasquantino. Yeah. He's a really good player, too. So they got a dangerous lineup.
And Michael Garcia, their leadoff batter.
Yeah, he's done a nice job.
Yeah, he's emerged this year.
Yeah.
With McKenzie, the fear is the margin of error with him is so thin right now. And you've seen that with the home runs. Like, if he's just off a little bit because the velo's down a little bit because maybe he doesn't have the command that he did pre-injury, he's going to get hit. And so Seth Lugo's kind of come out of nowhere this year. He's a long-time vet, probably been in the league 10 years or so, never put up numbers like this. Like, this is absurd.
He's had a couple – well, here's the thing. Like, he originally came up with the Mets and was with the Mets for most of his career. And he always wanted to be a starter. They never really let him. I mean, he was a starter occasionally, but they never really let him establish himself as a starter. He pitched mostly out of the pen, had a couple of solid years. And then last year, I can't remember who he was pitching for. I want to say, maybe was it Washington?
San Diego.
I don't know. I don't remember now. What was it?
San Diego.
San Diego, right. Thank you, Mike. And he had a decent year with San Diego, but so far he's been absolutely lights out. He's been as good as almost any pitcher in the American League. And he's got to be top 5 for Cy Young right now.
Oh, yeah. And, obviously their owner came from Cleveland in John Sherman.
Yeah.
And a lot of their coaches have ties back to Cleveland, one form or another. And their pitching coach has ties back here, Brian Sweeney. And I'm telling you, the Royals are another one of those teams. The Royals are like the Rays and the Mariners and the Guardians and how they develop pitching. And something's going – I said all the time, something's going on in Tampa Bay with the pitching. Something's going on in Kansas City with the pitching. The way that they trade for Cole Reagans, who's a nothing lefty reliever who throws hard.
Nah, he hadn't pitched that long.
But I'm saying, Texas gave him up
for nothing.
For Aroldis Chapman for rental. And Kansas City turns him into one of the most dominant left-handers in the game.
Right.
Chris Bubich is coming back from Tommy John in probably another week or two. He's one of those guys that was just a young prospect, got hit around a lot, and then last year started throwing the slider more and just exploded. Now he got hurt early in the year.
Yeah.
But Seth Lugo is another example of a guy who kind of a journeyman and all of a sudden lands in Kansas City and puts up monster numbers. Something's going on in Kansas City. I'm not saying anything illicit, but I'm just saying they've sort of figured something out. The way that they have these guys pitching, they're taking these guys that haven't had a ton of success previously, and they're sort of molding them into little mini monsters here. So it'll be a good series. It'll be a fun series.
Yeah, no doubt. Even Michael Wacha, who is kind of bounced back. Although he's hurt now, but he's not going to pitch in this series. Tomorrow, it's Brady Singer against Logan Allen.
Singer's another guy. Prospect got banged around, having a monster year.
Yes, and then Tanner Bybee's pitching on Thursday. The Royals, I don't think have announced their starter yet for the Thursday game, but it's an opportunity. If the Guardians sweep this series,
it means something to me.
They'll have at least the Royals will be 7 games out, and the Twins will be at least 6. We don't. The Twins, I think, are playing the Yankees. I believe. Double check that I'm right on that, Mike. I think the Twins are playing the Yankees these next 3 days. And the Twins, as we know, never beat the Yankees. So if the Guardians somehow sweep this series, I say somehow as if that would be impossible. Actually, he's not crazy at all. But if they did, they'll probably have a 7-game lead in the division at least. Well, over Kansas City, and then potentially even more against Minnesota. So now, on the other hand, Kansas City comes in here and sweeps the Guardians. Now it's a game on. You got a 1-game division. More than likely, it ends up a 2-1 one way or the other.
Is the game here?
Yes. 3 games are here. Yep, they'll play 6:40 or whatever. Is that what they play? 6:40.
6:40 tonight.
Yeah, 6:40, and I think a 1:00 game on Thursday. I'm thinking about going to the Thursday game. Anybody else want to go after the show?
That's a good idea. 1:00 and go right to the game.
Yeah.
I can talk myself into that.
I would love to, but I have to work in Columbus.
Well, what kind of nonsense is that? Tell them to stick it. I mean, priorities, Tyvis. We have a fun time at the ball game, man. We want you there. Jason?
I think we're doing. I'm a maybe. I think we're celebrating.
Well, I guess we should have to figure out plans.
Tell them to stick it.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, speaking of this weekend, I tried a new pizzeria in town, Sense Pizza. It's in like the Detroit Shoreway area.
I've heard it's pretty good.
It's a solid pizzeria. Definitely makes my top 5 Northeast Ohio pizzeria or Cleveland.
What's it called?
Pizzerias. Sense, Cents. It's on Detroit. It's on like west.
It's West 25th
50th or something.
Wouldn't you want it to be SCENTS? Like sense?
I have no. I think it's like I know. Maybe I don't know. It's spelled CENTS. It was a nice place, good atmosphere.
Like a missed opportunity.
Although it was funny, we walk in. Most people that were there I think we went on Saturday, and most people were sitting. They have a back area outdoors, but all the shady spots were filled. So I don't want to sit in the sun. So
you get your pizza, you eat it there. You're not a guest.
Well, I mean, sometimes I take it to go, but food tastes better in the restaurant.
Do you know?
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I sat down in a pizzeria and ate the pizza in the pizzeria. Yeah, it's been crazy to me. It's been a while.
We'll have to go. So this place, but the funny thing is, in the one room that I was sitting and eating, when we first got in there, they had like a little mini disco ball, with the lights flashing. And I said to the guy, "Can you shut off this disco ball?" First of all, we were the only ones in the room. And I'm like, I don't want to sit. I have light sensitivity in my eyes.
You weren't feeling it?
I'm trying to eat pizza. I don't want to have the disco ball flapping around. The guy looked at me like I was like it was the craziest question he's ever been asked in his life. But they shut off the disco ball. The food was very good. Everything else was great.
They turned it back on as soon as you left.
The second I left, they turned the disco ball back on, I'm sure. Because who doesn't want a disco ball shining in your eyes while you're reading? But getting back to this series, another thing I'm curious about, the crowds have been pretty good, guys. And usually when the Guardians are surprisingly good, it takes a while for the crowds to come around and get bigger. I feel like it doesn't happen a lot of times till late in the summer or the fall. Now, I think when Zach and I did the Ultimate Cleveland Guardians show yesterday, I think part of it is this is the first time in a while that the Guardians have been this good this early. Right? Now, this is their best start to a season since '95, I believe. Right?
I think it's earlier than that. it depends on how you want to
Right. But
you know what else it is?
Really, in the last 70 years, this is like their second best start, probably.
You want to know why a lot of people are attending the game?
Go ahead.
Because they hitting home runs. Where they at, McNuggets?
I think
home runs
that's
right
part
there.
of it.
I'm just saying.
That's part of it.
It's also been great weather.
It's been great weather.
That's the key.
But that's fine. The weather's fine. But it's something about the ball just traveling out the park.
They're tied for 10th.
You know what? Tyvus is right. The casual fan likes home runs. Casual fans like home runs.
Yeah, they do. But that's not why they're coming out.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Look.
And they don't look they don't look at it and go, oh, the Guardians are tied for 10th. Let's go to the park.
You got an opportunity to catch a home run.
Yeah.
How many people can say that they caught a home run ball?
Well, it's only the people sitting in the bleachers in center and right.
You never know. Somebody might pull one.
By the way,
I think it's the weather and the hot start.
I saw a clip from 92.3 The Fan where they were shockingly talking baseball. I didn't know they ever talked baseball on my old station. But Ken and Lima were talking.
Passive aggressiveness is real.
That's not passive aggressive.
That's aggressive aggressive.
That's aggressive aggressive. But Lima, who is, even though he's married now with kids, I still think is by far the hippest guy on 92.3 The Fan. Is that fair to say?
When I'm not on.
When Jason's not on, of course. And Lima was talking about how Saturday night was the place to be.
I don't know if Lima's ever had a warrant out for him. Although he probably has.
What are you talking about here? He was talking about how Saturday night was the place to be. There were a lot of people, the bars there, and it was like happening over the weekend. Normally, early June before school ends, because most people still have school. Some schools are done, but I know my son's school still is this week, and I know a lot of people still have one more week of school. Normally, a midweek series against the Kansas City Royals in the first week of June is like 13,000 a game.
Yes.
But I think it's going to be a lot bigger than that. Now, there's some rain in the forecast, I think, tomorrow and Thursday. We'll see, what happens. But I think the crowd's going to be pretty big.
Yeah.
And fans are into it right now.
I think they've done a nice job the last couple of years of getting creative with some of their ticket pricing and getting people into the gate. It doesn't mean...
Do they still got that standing room for $50
Yes.
a month? I think that's what
I don't know the exact price, but they do have standing room.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was because when they came out with that deal, I would have took that deal. It was like $49.95 for a month.
Every single person I know has that deal.
See,
every single person.
Yeah.
You can't get them anymore. It is sold out. It's the best marketing ploy the
that's a
Guardians
great
have
deal.
done. It is an incredible deal.
You average what? 15 games a month at home, probably.
Yeah, you go to 5, it's $10 a ticket.
Yeah,
You go
that's
to 10,
a great
it's $5
deal.
a ticket.
I don't know that it
but
adds...
ticket is $10. Man, I ain't been to a game in a while.
It doesn't really...
No. If it's $50, Ty, I'm saying. You pay
Oh,
$50,
okay, I
you
got
have
you.
to
I
go
got
down.
you.
It doesn't really add a lot of revenue. Like if you look at the total attendance,
Right.
that doesn't translate to what the revenue should be. But it's still getting people into the park. They're
Right.
still spending concessions. They're still probably buying a hat or a shirt or something. So you're still making money off of them. It's just that initial ticket investment. Probably they're not getting the bang for the buck on it.
Yeah, but there's something to be said for it helping the team.
Oh,
when
for
the
sure.
crowd's got energy
Yes.
and they're into
and
the
the place
game.
is full. Like who wants
Yeah.
to play in front of a stadium?
I
That's half
know.
full
You don't
and
want
people are on their
that.
phones and
Right.
they're more worried about the beer than they are what's
Yeah.
going on in the field.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
It
It's
can
good.
be the Progressive Field can be the worst environment in Cleveland, and it can be the best.
Yeah.
It like truly, it can be. I've been there on nights where it's just miserable.
Oh, God,
it's
yeah.
cold. It's miserable. There's nobody there. And
Wasn't you there for the eclipse?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
And then I've been there when that place is. I mean, when Rajai Davis hits the grand slam and the press box is literally shaking. I remember
it's
cool.
The first